Hey, Chris Lipe here with the isolated vocal tracks for Down in a Hole, Alice in Chains, Layne Staley. This is probably my favorite Alice in Chains song because of the way the vocals and harmonies interact with the music. There's this sort of plodding along motion that happens with the music that is relaxing. And the angst, that relaxed angst that only Layne Staley can do over the top of the music bed, it's quintessential Alice in Chains. And the way Layne and Jerry interact harmonically is incredible, the way their voices blend. So much fun to listen to in this isolated capacity. One thing we really learn from these isolated tracks is a timing thing. If we are trying to be ahead or be right on with our band, we end up creating this sense of false urgency or anxiety. Whereas these vocalists, even though we're not listening to the track with the music, you do get a sense of how they pull back. So listen for that. They are part of what we love about this band is how these vocalists can be lagging, yet still angsty. Not anxious, but angsty. If you'd like more help with your voice in general, in ways that we discuss in this video, or if you'd like more help with getting good grit, or good support, or belting, or lasting longer while you're trying to sing, the best place to start is to click the link below and join my free voice course. There's a lot of different ways that you can work with me from there, but that's the best place to begin. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel, turn those notifications on. There's this air whistle quality there.
Bury me softly in this world.
Some of these harmonies sound like Layne, and some of them sound like Jerry. And I think I have an idea of which one does which one, but I'm just going to refer to all of them as harmonies, and we're not really going to worry about who sings what for the most part. I love, first of all, I have to start and stop these. I can't just let them play all the way through because of the way the Google copyright stuff works. They'll block my video if I keep things going too long. So that's one of the reasons I stop quite a bit. But here, I love the way. Listen to it's not just it's you can hear the whistling happening. It's like he's got his mouth closed enough to create this tight airflow. It's hard for me to do it without shaking my voice. There it is. We've got this going on at the same time. Really neat quality.
Bury me softly in this world. I give this part of me for you.
Notice how the harmonies trail beyond the lead, and also his tone here.
For
you. But that he really cups the back of his tongue there, but he doesn't at the beginning of the line.
I give this part of me.
I give this part of me. And then this era of singers sometimes gets this bad rap. You know, there's that classic wrestling or boxing match between Scott Stapp and Eddie Vedder. You know, you took my voice, it's my voice too. That kind of thing. Layne, I think in particular, gets away with it because he doesn't do it. It's a taste thing that happens once in a while. And I've done other videos on Layne The dynamic way that he moves around his resonance and his tone is what makes his voice so compelling. He's not always singing, down, down in a hole. That sounds dumb. But when he puts this in and blends with the harmony, this is a blending and a vibe thing, and it works so well.
Sand rains down and here I sit, holding red flowers in a tomb.
Right there, the way he closes it. Listen here.
Holding red flowers.
Very open. Holding red flowers in a tomb. Really neat. Crow, nasal.
In bloom.
Love that. The harmony there. That's actually sort of a main line at that point.
In bloom.
Notice how they're not in pitch, and it's totally okay.
Down in a hole and I don't know if I can be saved.
I always thought it was so cool how the choruses dry up. This doesn't happen in a lot of songs. We have lots of harmonies in the verses, and then we're, a single voice with not much effects. I mean, there's a little reverb on it. Very different than a lot of songs you hear. Listen to this entry, though.
Down in a hole and I don't know if I can be saved.
We hear a little bit of delay, a little bit of reverb in there. The way he shapes each phrase. Listen how open he is here.
Down in a
hole. Now, I did some things that he's not doing there. But the point is, we've got this kind of funnel going on where he's bright up top at the beginning of the line. And then as he goes down, this is more than just changing intensity. It's shaping the tone in a very intentional way. Down in a hole and I don't know if I can be saved. Now, my voice doesn't sound like his voice. I'm not trying to sound like him. I'm trying to sing like him. I'm trying to take inspiration for what he does, how he's open and then dragging in time, dragging in intensity almost. Down in a hole, I don't know if I can be saved. Almost caving in each line. You can hear that so much.
see my heart, I decorated like a grave.
Love his vibrato too.
You don't understand who they thought I was supposed to be.
Yeah, his vibrato's incredible. I don't know that I've listened to this line in the way that I'm thinking about it ever before. First of all, I love this.
You don't understand.
You don't understand. But listen to how supposed. It's a weird way to sing it, but it sure works in the mix.
Stand who they thought I was supposed to be.
Supposed to be. Nice open B. But the way he gets into this.
You don't understand who they thought
You don't understand.
You don't understand who they thought I was
So awesome.
Look at me now, a man who won't let himself be.
Those moments where he's gritting it up at the beginning of those phrases is a product of compression and airflow moderation. You don't understand. You have to go crazy with it in order to find out what your voice does. And it's going to sound a little bit weird. Might feel a little weird too. I've done lots of videos on compression, so be sure to check them out on the channel. And I cover dynamics and airflow moderation and support at length in my courses, so be sure to check those out as well. Moving on.
Down in a hole,
Then we get the harmonies going.
feeling so small.
I love hearing stuff like this. You just never would hear that without the isolated tracks.
Down in a hole, losing my soul. I'd like to fly.
Notice how the background vocals take the lead here. This is a neat arranging thing.
I'd like to fly.
Then fly, but the background vocals, those doubled background vocals, bring us into that. You don't really think about that when you're listening to the full mix. At least I didn't.
Fly, but my wings have been so denied.
Interesting how the lead vocal is also doubled and panned center.
Down in a hole, feeling so small.
Let's vibe out a bit over this down in a hole section and make notes of the contrast between the two voices. Down in a hole, feeling so small. Down in a hole, feeling so small. Down in a hole, feeling so small. By creating a common tone over the whole and small, I'm very forward and I'm belting there. Nowhere else am I really belting. I've got a little bit of mix going on, a little bit of gritty things going on at the beginning on the lead, and then I'm very straight and calm on those backing vocals. No vibrato, but you listen just like Lane's. Oh! The lead vocal vibrato carries that, and it makes it actually sound like the background vocals have vibrato, even though they don't. It's about knowing your place as a blending background vocalist over a fantastic lead vocal performance. My vocal performance wasn't all that fantastic, but having a consciousness of what that lead vocal is doing and where to lock in and where to diverge will help you blend and stand out. And that's what makes the interplay between these vocalists and these parts so awesome.
Down in a hole, losing my soul.
I'd also like to point out that they're not all together, right? And Lane is sharp right here on his lead. He tends to go sharp with his vibrato just a little bit. Pitch correction in any large usage case would never work on these performances because the sharpness is, well, unless you're manually pitch correcting, that's another story. But it's so neat how the imperfection really makes the performance.
Down in a hole and they've put all the stones in their place.
Again, lone vocal.
I've eaten the sun, so my tongue has been burned of the taste.
Ugh. Now listen here on Eaton.
I've eaten the sun.
That's how light he is there in comparison to some of the other entrances to lines. He didn't really, it wasn't.
I've eaten the
sun. I wonder if they tried that and decided he needed to be a bit more clean here.
I've eaten the
sun.
I've eaten the sun, so my tongue has been burned of the taste.
He still has that nice funnel thing going on that I was talking about.
I have been killed.
I have been guilty. Starts in Fry.
I have been guilty of kicking myself in the teeth.
One of my favorite Lane Staley notes ever in lines right here. So bright and so forward. T and straight. I tend to want to add vibrato. T than he does at the end. But he's so straight right here. And that's part of what makes his vibrato so awesome, is that he can be so straight. Teeth! And then let that vibrato come in at the end of phrases. It's not this constant thing that grates on you. It's brought in like a serpent at the end of his phrases.
I will speak no more of my feelings beneath.
So pretty.
Down in a hole, feeling so small.
Oh, it's definitely, compared to what I did earlier, small. I was placing that vowel a little bit more forward. No big deal, but important to recognize those differences. When you're going and looking at, well, why does my voice vibe differently than that voice? Well, the vowels are being pronounced a little differently.
Down in a hole, losing my soul.
Now there, they both had that so forward belt feeling.
I'd like to fly, but my wings have been so denied.
I really like this next section, and there's some things that I did not know were there until I heard these isolated vocals.
Bury me softly in this world. Oh, I wanna be inside of you. I give this.
I don't think I knew that those low harmonies were there. Or those low lines, those low doubles. So cool. I think maybe I sensed them. But the way the music all blends together, they didn't stick out to me at all until listening here. Just listen to it.
Bury me softly in this world. Oh, I wanna be inside of you. I give this part of me for you.
Oh, down there. So neat.
Of me for you. Oh, I wanna be inside of you. Sand rains down.
And you've got the fourths and fifths going on. So they sound dissonant, but they sound really together as well. It's like power chords with the voice.
Of you. Sand rains down and here I sit. Holding red flowers out of you.
And it sounds messy because they switched the lyrics up there, but it totally works.
Oh, I wanna be inside. Down in.
Who would have thought that there'd be rounds in this kind of music, right? They're borrowing from some very traditional arranging and songwriting things and making it something altogether new. That's why this music is so compelling. And that's why these vocalists, and in particular Layne, between textures, dynamic resonance, and the way that the harmonies are arranged, there's just nothing else out there like it. There never has been, there never will be.
Down in a hole, feeling so small. Down in a hole.
Another one of those things. It was left in, right?
Losing my soul. Down in a hole.
Love hearing those little things. The personality.
Feeling so small.
It supports the personality
Down in a hole.
that you already hear in the lead vocal.
Out of control.
You notice how sharp he is on Out of Control?
Out of control.
Oh, is very sharp, but it works. In fact, it works better than if it was on pitch.
I'd like to fly, but my wings have been so denied.
Lots of amazing arranging takeaways, performance takeaways. Remember the timing, the funnel idea in terms of how we perform our lines, dynamic resonance placement, and of course the way that the interplay between the lead vocals and the harmonies, how the harmonies or background vocals take the lead once in a while, and then the round. So many things. That's why this is my favorite Alice in Chains song, and why Layne Staley is in a class all of his own. And really the duo, Layne, Jerry, there's nothing else like it. It's so fun to dig into vocal arranging and production and performance with you. Thank you for suggesting videos like this. This video came as a result of one of your suggestions. So make more. Leave more in the comments. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. And again, if you want to go further with me as your vocal coach, click that link below and join my free voice course. We'll see you for more.